Real Ones No Media. Back at it again. We got another reaction. And this time we're getting into the Jay-Z GQ interview he recently did. And specifically the part where he talked about battle rapping or dissing people on tracks. Um, there's a lot of people speaking about this, and it caused a little stir because Jay is known to been in a few battles in his career. But for this particular time, he the Drake and Kendrick beef seemed to have turned him off. So I think I want to go through the clip and break it down and you know get into a little history of hip hop. So let's get into it. So we got he breaks his silence. He said, "I didn't like it," and we're looking at the Real Ones No Media page on X. If you're not following, you should be.
Graffiti.
Yep.
There's DJing and battling.
Yep.
There are four pillars of hip hop, right?
Yep.
With breakdancing.
Yep.
Now, as he's saying some stuff, he's incorrect about some stuff, and I'm gonna play it on straight through, and then we'll go back through it and break it down.
And so graffiti.
Yep.
There's DJing and battling.
Yep.
Breakdance is not at the forefront of rap anymore. It's actually an Olympics sport. So that's dead. Graffiti.
Yeah.
Beautiful. In certain places.
Yeah.
And even in major art and Keith Haring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Basquiat, actually, the street artist.
Yep.
Took it to a next level. It's not part of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
DJing. The DJ was in the forefront. It was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Right. Yeah.
Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
You don't even know the DJ for half of the artists anymore. Who's Drake DJ? I have no idea. Okay.
Couldn't tell you off top.
That no longer exists. And the last pillar is battling. We love the excitement. And I love the sparring and the music you get.
Mm-hmm.
But in this day and age, it's so much negative stuff that comes with it. They almost wish it didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, because it's almost like it's a final thing. Now people that like Kendrick hate Drake.
Yeah.
No matter what he makes, no matter what he says. And it goes far too. It's like attack on his character and his thing. And it's like, I don't know if I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful to our growth. Where the fallout lands, especially on on social media, which takes place every day.
Yeah. And
now you have these pods of cult.
The Stan armies fighting.
Yeah, and it's like, it's too far.
Yeah.
It's like bringing people kids in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't like that. Maybe I've grown in a space that is probably, I sound like the old guy wagging the thing. But I think we can achieve the same thing as far as like sparring with music, with collaborations more so than breaking the whole thing apart.
Yeah.
It could stand it before because there was no social media and there was no thing. And, you had the battle and it was fun and then you moved on.
Right.
Right now, I don't know if it could stand it with the technology that we have.
Because it takes up so much oxygen.
It takes up so much oxygen.
Yeah.
And now it's just like every day they're just trying
they're
to
still talking about it.
It's not just talking about it. Not like, yo, this song, I like this.
Yeah.
It's like trying to tear down the people's life. Like trying to, wreck this guy's marriage or this guy's relationship with his child. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's worth it at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Again, I love the idea that we got so much music in such a short period of time.
Great music.
Just everything around it was just like, man, it's like taking us a couple steps back.
Yeah.
And we just grown so much that I don't know if, I guess I'm gonna say it, I don't know if battling needs to be part of the culture anymore.
Interesting.
I hate that I have this point of view. I do, because I know what it sounds like. I know what it feels like. I hate it.
Okay. So that was the full clip, uninterrupted. So what I'm gonna do, I want to go back through it, and I want to correct some stuff, or add on and build with this.
There are four pillars of hip hop, right?
Yep.
There's breakdancing.
Yep.
And so graffiti.
Yep.
There's DJing and battling.
Yep.
Okay. That's the first thing he said. That was incorrect. Originally, when they decided to call the art form hip hop, and they said, okay, and I think that may have been Africa Bambaataa who named the 4 elements of hip hop, which would have been DJing, b-boying or breakdancing, graffiti, and the last one was the MC. Not battling, not battling. That's not one of the 4 elements or pillars of hip hop. Now, there are more than just 4 elements or pillars of hip hop. Once again, it's DJing and breaking and b-boying. Graffiti, which happened to be the first element, and that's another story. We'll get into that another time to get deeper into that. And the MC, but there are also several more pillars of hip hop. And there's 1 or 2 that I added on myself that should become pillars or elements of hip hop. So we got the first 4 is DJing, breaking, graffiti, MCing, knowledge. Knowledge is the 5th element. A lot of people say beatboxing. Yeah, beatboxing is it could be an element, fashion, because we had a particular fashion. Hip hop has a particular fashion. Hip hop makes fashion cool. We make these things trendy. Brands go through hip hop to sell to the masses. So fashion, because we had so much character with the fashion, that is an element of hip hop. Our street language or our slang that we create, though, that's an element of hip hop where we could say certain things that all over the country. And now things used to be regional. Now everything is global. So we use the same slang all over. Even uh, outside of the country, they're using our slang, our hip hop slang, which hip hop is a culture, but it's also a subculture of Black American culture or foundational Black American culture, to be exact. So our language, street language or slang. Then we have independence or entrepreneurship or entrepreneurialism. Um, that's a something that's been ingrained in Black American culture, getting it out of the mud, starting it and being independent and building something from nothing. And that moved into hip hop. We saw a lot of the independent labels that came up, in particular, the South, where we didn't have record labels in the South. So there wasn't a lot of outlets. So people had to make their own beats, be their own record label, their own PR person, their own street team, and sell it out the trunk. That was a big thing in the Bay. So entrepreneurialism or independence or street entrepreneurial or however you want, whatever you want to call it, but independent business. That's a element of hip hop. Now the last one that I want to add to it is gatekeeping. That's something that we don't do. We don't gatekeep the culture. We should add that as an element. That's one I practice in terms of hip hop. I gatekeep the culture, just Black culture in general. I'm a gatekeeper. I'm not allowing just anybody to come in and just do whatever, say whatever. I'm not giving people praise just because they come from a different culture than mine and they take a liking to my culture, because that's nothing new in terms of Black American culture. With anything that we've created, everyone has always gravitated to it and always loved it. People have become rich off of it, famous. So gatekeeping. So that's 10 elements that I just named. Let's go back over them again. Um, DJing, breaking, graffiti, the MCing, beatboxing, knowledge, fashion, our language, street entrepreneurship, and gatekeeping. It's 10 elements or pillars of the culture. Now, I'm going to break down some more of what Jay said.
Break dance is not at the forefront of rap anymore. It's actually in a.
Now, let me go back through each one that he names so we can get it correct.
Yep.
Break dance is not at the forefront of rap anymore.
Yep.
There's DJing.
Now, he's going to say the DJ, nobody knows who the DJ is. The DJ will never die. Every hip hop party, hip hop club, hip hop is being played, there's a DJ. The DJ will always be around. If you playing music, if you got the aux cord, you're the DJ. The DJ is rocking the party. You keeping the vibe going. A DJ is the most important part of the party, or the vibe, the cookout, the barbecue, the reunion. The DJ is always important. Anybody could be. You don't have to have two turntables. You could DJ straight from the phone. You hook up your Apple Music. You got a fire playlist. We straight. Spotify, whatever you're using, YouTube Music, and you got that playlist. The DJ will never die. You don't have to know their name. The DJ is omnipresent, if you will, when we're speaking about hip hop. Let's keep going.
And battling.
Yep.
Break dance is not at the forefront of rap.
Now, break dancing. A lot of people like to. They brought break dancing up because they would, when hip hop started, they would play the breaks of the beat, and a lot of they would start doing the break moves because they were dancing to the breaks. So then they started doing some floor moves. Those moves existed prior to hip hop. Those were moves that were done to jazz, to bebop, prior to hip hop. There's a great documentary, Mic Check, by Tariq Nasheed on the foundation of hip hop. A lot of the guys who started breakdancing, I think Sasa and Sasa. I can't think of the other guy. The first two break b-boys, they used to watch the old tap dancers and the dancers, the jazz dancers from the 30s and 40s and 50s, and watching in the 60s, watching the moves that they did and emulated them. So breakdancing isn't the only element in terms of when we speak about dancing in general, because we create new dances every 6 months. It's a new dance, maybe 3 or 4 new dances. So dancing in general, and let me change that when we're talking about the elements. So dancing in general, whatever the dance is, the nene, the dab, when they were doing Tootsie Roll back in the day, whatever, that's a part of hip hop. The WAP, the Cabbage Patch, the Running Man, that's hip hop. They don't have to just be breakdancing to be an element of hip hop, because hip hop evolves, everything evolves. So dancing can't just remain we're gonna keep it at breakdancing. No, so that's out. So dancing in general is an element of hip hop. It doesn't have to just be breakdancing
anymore. It's actually an Olympics sport. So that's dead. Graffiti.
Yeah.
Beautiful, in certain places.
Yeah.
And even in major art and Keith Haring.
Yeah.
And Basquiat, actually, the street artist.
Yeah.
Took it to a next level. It's not part of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
DJing.
now. Graffiti was started by a brother named Cornbread in Philly. He would just tag walls with his name. Graffiti is considered an art now. Now we see people evolved it into where they're doing graffiti style paintings on walls all over the country and things like that. But graffiti is again art. So we express art in many different ways. It doesn't have to just be what they would call graffiti. When we have guys that take a lot of pride and time with their artwork on their albums, that's graffiti. When we have guys like No Limit and Cash Money back in the day with their album covers, that's art. That's hip hop art. That is something that's a offshoot of a type of graffiti. Graffiti um was created out of rebellion, and a guy just tagging his name, and they would just tag the cities up, writing their names, or writing their neighborhoods, or writing the city or whatever they from their block. It's not that just because people aren't doing art in that form anymore doesn't mean that art is not still a part of hip hop. Like we gotta stop. Like we just gonna stay stagnant. And when we have guys that have beautiful art, when West Side Gun does a thing with his album covers, um, you see guys who express they have artistic expression all types of ways. So graffiti, it doesn't just stop with graffiti. That's again incorrect. I know Jay, he think he Jay-Z, but you can't rewrite the book, brother. I'm sorry. You we all update it. We update the book. It don't just stay the same. Respectfully. Let's keep going. And I think he's talking about the DJ now.
The DJ was in the forefront. It was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Right. Yeah.
Eric B. and Rakim.
Yeah.
You don't even know the DJ for half of the artists anymore. Who's
And once again, like I said, with the DJ, you don't have to know the DJ's name. Anybody could be a DJ. You could be the DJ. Nobody has to, you don't have to know the DJ's name. Things can change. It's okay. Things can change.
Drake DJ? I have no idea. Okay.
Couldn't tell you off top.
That no longer exists. And the last pillar is battling. We love the excitement. And I love the...
And once again, battling is not a pillar of hip hop. It's not an element specifically of hip hop. It's the MCing culture is the element in particular. Battling is something that is done from MCing. So we removing battling, that's another argument if he don't have the stomach for it. But once again, like they said back in the day, hip hop was a young man's sport. Jay-Z's about 60 now, almost 60. I think he's 56. He'll be 57 in December. So he's an older man. So, and like he said, he was correct. Social media has changed the way we do hip hop now. We never seen anything like that before with the Drake and Kendrick thing, that we got super fans they'll be working the beef online all day, posting and reposting and coming. We never seen that before. We never seen that before. And the issue is, I think it got messy, and I think I think Drake he started the mudslinging first. And it got messy. So, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to reanalyze the battle. But that's what happened. You had these super fan bases, and like he said about social media, yeah, social media changed stuff. We never seen nothing like this before in terms of a battle. But in terms of battling you know, people just have to be more respectful. We can't be perfect. You know what I mean? But battling is a part of hip hop. Also, is a part of black music, black American music. Jazz bands battle. We have battle of the bands now. Battling in terms it just sharpens your sword, and this person may be the better man today, but you can come back and get them, and it make you a better musician or whatever it is, whatever form of art that you partake in. It'll make you better when you compete. Competition is healthy. Now things will get toxic. That don't mean we're just supposed to blow it all up and throw the baby out with the bathwater. We just got to tighten up when it comes to, um, or I can't say we because hey, you never know. You can't control fans. We got this social media thing now that changes everything. So once again, um, to Jay's his comments about battling, we don't need it in the culture. I disagree. We always need competition because competition breeds greatness. When we see two guys going against each other, we get greatness. I mean, people, when you reference back to a lot of people used to reference back to Pac and Big. The difference with Pac and Big is Pac and Big were there was beef. There were things that happened in the street. People got shot, people died prior to them ever saying anything to each other on wax. So that's a bad example. And even with that, we got two of the greatest double albums, two of the greatest albums of all time. Now, if we could have not had the untimely demise of Pac and Big, and we could have kept them brothers with those two brilliant, beautiful albums, um, that would have been great. But all in all, we got two of the best hip hop albums that we ever saw because these guys were competing. Iron and sharp as iron, steel sharp as steel. With Jay and Nas when they went at each other, they both put out classic albums back to back, and they both, you know, went on a night. Well, Jay he ended up retiring and coming back, but Nas went on a run. Um, so we got great music when the game and 50 they had a back and forth. They started beefing. They both elevated with um, well, game he elevated in terms of the music. He was doing great. 50, he was doing what he was doing in business, and he was moving and shaking. But once again, competition is always healthy. Uh, it just has to be regulated between the people. It doesn't have to be it's over with, like, because we saw guys' careers get really affected by these types of things 20 years ago with T.I. and Lil Flip. Like Lil Flip, like literally went from one of the top charting artists at the time to like his career was practically like went straight back to underground. Same with Ja Rule. Ja Rule was one of the top charting artists with big hits back to back, and then he put out a good album after the beef with him and 50 started, but the album didn't sell that good. He had two hits on it. The album didn't sell that well. They went through a whole bunch of other stuff legally, and it kind of ended his career in terms of music. So we saw worse than what we saw with Drake and Kendrick. And Drake and Kendrick at the time when they went at each other, they were significantly more successful in later on in their career than Ja and 50 were and T.I. and Lil Flip were. So it was a significant difference. Drake has been in the game 17 years now. Kendrick 17 years now, even 20 years ago. I remember hearing Kendrick on a mixtape, on a game mixtape. So I remember I heard Drake 20 years ago. So these guys are 20 years in the game. So they built the fan base. They're not going to lose a whole lot of fans, man. So once again, yeah, it got messy. It was bad, but we're not going to just blow this whole thing up and start acting like this is not a part of the culture. Like this is what hip hop is about. Like competition. You know what I mean? So if you not with it, you don't want to see it, don't watch it. You know what I mean? Maybe one day I'll get to that point where I can't stomach it, pause, and I just won't watch it. So once again, in closing, there are 10 elements of hip hop. Battling is not a part of it. Battling will fall up under the MCing element. And once again, the 10 elements of hip hop are the DJing, breakdancing. Well, now we're changing it to dancing, MCing. It was graffiti. We're changing it to artwork, to art. However you express art, knowledge and wisdom, beatboxing. People, sometimes you got to make the music. However you got to make it. If you don't have nothing that the kids in school, they learn how to make a beatboxing. We got to bring that back. Beating on the table. That's all good. We cool with that. Fashion. What we wear, how we wear it, how we get fly. Whatever we make cool, that's an element. The slang, the language that we use, that's part of our element. The way we choose to use the English language and make a word that's supposed to mean this and it means something totally different. That's a part of the elements of hip hop. Entrepreneurship, independence. A lot of guys going back to independence now. That's an element of hip hop, one of the most important elements. Building brands and building businesses, independence. And the last one, the one that I added myself in particular, is gatekeeping. We have to gatekeep our culture. Gatekeeping the culture, and I feel like that's the most important one. Gatekeep it. Like we're not gonna just be, all googly eyed just because somebody that's not of the culture takes a liking to the culture. That's out. That's out. So once again, I appreciate everybody. If you're not following me on all social media platforms, you should be. Real Ones No Media. We on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, right here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Get down in the comment section and let me know how you feel about it. And we out.